Welcome to the EV-Vigilance training module M3E, Creating and Sending ICSRs using EVWEB Part 2. The target audience for this training module are national competent authorities in the EEA, marketing authorization holders, sponsors of clinical trials, and research institutions and academia. Learning objectives. Following the completion of this training module, you should be able to understand how to create the following types of reports using EVWEB. Nullifications and Amendments, creating patient death reports, parent-child reports, observational studies, and clinical trial ICSRs. The difference between amendment and follow-up reports is that the original sender of an ICSR should report follow-up information on an expedited basis if significant new medical information has been received. Significant new information relates to, for example, new adverse reactions, a change in the causality assessment, and any new or updated information on the case that impacts on the medical interpretation of the case. Therefore, the identification of significant new information requiring expedited reporting always requires some medical judgment. When to use amendments. For example, when after internal review or expert opinion, some items have been corrected without the receipt of new information, such as amendment to MEDRA coding due to a change in interpretation of the ADR, an amendment report can be submitted. Amendments can also be used to submit case translations or articles as attachments. The important point is that the date of most recent information for this report should remain unchanged. Nullifications. In line with the ICH ETBR3 guideline, the nullification of individual cases should be used to indicate that a previously transmitted report should be considered completely void. For example, when the whole case was found to be erroneous, or in the situation where duplicate reports have been created. In the case of duplicate reports, where one report needs to be nullified, the remaining case should be updated by submitting a follow-up report. It should be noted that individual versions of an ICSR cannot be nullified. Only the whole case, in other words, all versions of an ICSR, can be nullified. Once an individual case has been nullified, the case cannot be reactivated. Therefore, if it becomes necessary to resubmit the case that has been previously nullified, a new Safety Report ID and Worldwide Case ID needs to be assigned. It should be noted that individual versions of an ICSR cannot be nullified. Only the whole case, in other words, all versions of an ICSR, can be nullified. Once an individual case has been nullified, the case cannot be reactivated. Therefore, if it becomes necessary to resubmit the case that has been previously nullified, a new Safety Report ID and Worldwide Case ID needs to be assigned. When an organization submits a nullification report, EV-Vigilance will automatically mark an ICSR as nullified if the pre-existing case has been submitted by the same organization or one of its affiliates. These nullification reports will have the report classification Nullified Report. If the pre-existing case was sent by a different organization, the report classification will either be EEA Nullification Request or Nullification Request. EEA nullification requests will be forwarded to the national competent authorities to assess. In order to send an amendment report or a nullification report, you must first load the previously sent ICSR. You can do this through the import XML or through the WebTrader function. Once you've loaded the report you wish to send an amendment or a nullification, navigate to the Administrative Information section of the report and select Nullification or Amendment. Then add the reason for the amendment or the nullification. And then validate and send. The same process can be applied for nullifications. And again, you can validate and send it. Patient death reports. In a situation where a patient has died, the patient death section of the ICSR should be completed. This is both for the situations where the death is linked to a suspected drug reaction and for when the death is not associated with any suspected drug reaction. The reported death cause and, if applicable, autopsy sections should be completed. The patient death section of an ICSR is not automatically available from the ICSR tree view. In order to add a patient death section, you need to select the patient and click on the Add Patient Death section. Once added, you can then fill in the appropriate fields for the patient death. Underneath the patient death, there are two sections to be completed. If an autopsy was carried out and you have details of the autopsy results, then you can complete the autopsy medical term. You can also add additional autopsy results if more than one term has been reported. There is also a free text section to add any additional information that cannot be coded into Medra. Likewise, the patient death cause section can be completed, and this captures the information about the reporter's stated cause of death of the patient. In addition, the patient death cause also has the option of adding free unstructured text. Don't forget to go to the reactions section if the information has changed about the case to select the appropriate seriousness flags, and also that the outcome is marked as fatal for that particular reaction if the death is associated with a suspected drug reaction. Don't forget to navigate to the If you're creating a follow-up, don't forget you may need to update the reactions section to reflect the new information received about the case. Seriousness selected, the reaction outcome must be captured as fatal. Parent-child reports. Additional data elements need to be completed for reports affecting a child or fetus where the mother or father took the drug. The patient section is completed with the details of the child or fetus. The drug information is entered with the details of the parent taking the drug, except for the route of administration. Parent information is captured in the parent section of the ICSR. As just mentioned, the patient section should be completed with the details of the fetus or the child, such as the fields gestation period and patient age group. Under the drug dosage section, The route of administration of the drug should capture how the child was exposed. Transplacental or transmammary are the most common terms used where the mother has taken the drug, and where the father has taken the drug, other should be used. The parent route of administration should capture how the parent took the drug. In order to add the parent information to this report, you need to select the patient section in the tree view and then select the icon Add Parent. You can now complete the section of information about the parent. The parent section also has elements to capture information about the parent's past drug therapies, what their indications were, and what the reactions they experienced to those past drugs. There is also a section here to capture the past. There is also a section to capture the parent's past medical history, which should be completed with information if known. In situations where you're submitting ICSRs for both the parent and the child, it is important to remember to link those two cases together through the Linked Reports section. Here you can enter the worldwide case ID of the other report to link to. Observational studies, also known as non-interventional studies, should be reported to the EVWEB post-authorization module. The report type for these should be set as report from studies, and the study type should be set as other studies or individual patient use as applicable. In order to send the case to the EVWEB post-authorization module, you have to select the correct receiver identifier. For the XComp EV test system, this is EVWEB human. In the administrative information section, make sure that the report type is selected as report from studies. Then you need to add a study section to the report. In the study section, you have places to capture the name of the study, a sponsor study number if applicable, and you must set the type of study as being other studies or individual patient use. Clinical trial SUSAR reports should be reported to the EVWEB clinical trial module only. EU causality assessments are required for all suspect drugs in a SUSAR submission. In addition, the study section must be completed. Finally, the UDRA CT number, or in the future the clinical trial portal number, must be provided for all EEA SUSAR cases. The receiver identifier for clinical trial SUSAR cases will be EVWEB CT in the test environment and EV-CTM prod in the production system. The report type for SUSARs must be selected as report from studies. The study section must also be completed for these reports. The study type must be completed with clinical trials. A study registration must also be added for EEA cases. The UDRA-CT number or clinical trial portal number must be provided in the study registration number field, and the study registration country should be set to European Union. In this training module, we have looked at the specific fields that are required for nullification and amendment reports, creating patient death reports, parent-child reports, observational studies, and clinical trial ICSRs. Feedback forms are available for this e-learning module. Thank you for your attention.